hope I don't piss this person off. And
Yeah, it's a bit like, whoa, I'd get the sales vibe from him and be like, fuck off, Jordan. Holy moly.
then she left me. Boy, did she make a good call.
Tell me about that.
Well, okay, so like, obviously I'm probably not the best guy to ask because I didn't make it. They should be apart.
I'm Sam, your host. Today on the show, Gavin, how are you going, man?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. Thank you
What's
for having
happening?
me. It's been a good day, man. Chill, cruisy.
It's been a good day out there.
Stunner, yeah.
Stunner?
Stunner.
Yeah. Makes me not want to be inside, but we're fucking here. Yeah. So let's do it. It's been a good day out there. Fucking sun is shining. I think summer's around the corner. Hopefully we get a summer this year, man.
For sure.
I think everybody in my office is begging for it and wanting
100%.
it. They're kind of thinking, well, not thinking, but I think a lot of people are like Aussie.
Yeah.
You know, you got
You
some
reckon?
friends.
You doing Aussie?
Well, no. I mean, like, in terms of, like, if you don't get a summer, people are buggering off there.
Yeah, bounce off.
Do you know what I mean? It's so close. The visa thing's easy.
Bro, I've spent the last 7 years. I haven't left New Zealand for the last, 7 years, which, like, for people overseas, is probably like, oh, what do you mean? You know, whatever, it's not a big deal. But, like, Kiwi terms, like, everyone, like, leaves at least, like, once a year, right?
Yeah.
I haven't left.
So you've never even had a holiday overseas?
Dude, no.
Okay.
No, I've just been here. I've been here.
You must like it.
You know, it's like, do you know what happened? I'll give you my rundown. So, born in the States originally, right? American accent. Lived in Spain for 2 years because I could speak Spanish, and then came to New Zealand because my dad's a Kiwi. So, born in Hawke's Bay. We stayed here till I was about 18. Then when I was 18, I left, went to Central South America for like a year, went to the States again for a year, came back, went to Australia, started working in a bar, was there for like 8 months, met a girl, came back to New Zealand.
It's always the case.
Bro, always the case. Then she left me. Boy, did she make a good call. And then we, and then she the goal was like her and I were going to go link up in Canada, right? So I was going to finish my degree.
Fuck you all over, man.
Bro,
Sit still for a minute.
know,
you remind me of Darren on our team. He's just like bouncing all over this shit.
It's not, I don't think it's healthy.
I think they like it.
This is the longest I've been somewhere.
Yeah. 7 years is a long time.
7 years is a long time. Yeah, 7 years.
Not even a holiday, though.
No.
True. So you must kind of like it. I guess you're busy too.
Family's here. Busy with work.
Whereabouts in Spain did you live?
Malaga, South Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you learned Spanish?
I can speak
so
Spanish.
You can speak fluent Spanish?
Yeah.
Fuck, that must help with the ladies a bit.
Bro, it does. Yeah, it does. Especially the Swiss. The Swiss ladies love a bit of Spanish. No, it does.
It's always the least expected shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But no, it's been good. So I learned Spanish, right?
Yeah. So you came back here.
Yeah.
Then where did the girl go? Out of interest.
She was going to Central America to travel, and then I was going to finish my degree. I had 4 months left on my degree.
Yeah.
So I came back, and then when you do the long distance thing, I don't know if you've ever done it before, but all the small problems that you had that were when you were together close are multiplied by 10 when you do the long distance thing. And so it just brought to the surface all these problems that were there, and it's way harder to resolve when you're doing long distance as well. And
so that ended
100%. Yeah, ended within a month.
You came back. You were still here.
Still here.
What were you doing at that time? And how old are you at this point?
So when I got back here, I was 22, 23. 22. Yeah, 22. So so 7 years I've been here. Yeah, 22, and then was working at Museum Hotel in Wellington as a bartender, and then finished my degree. Then I worked at MB, the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment. I was a personal assistant, and bro, I hated it. It. Never.
Who for?
Just so my dad's friend, funnily enough. So he was this, director of a small team within MB, which for those who don't know, MB is the government organization. I think it's New Zealand's biggest one. There's 4,000 staff there.
I think they're the ones doing all the government funding and handouts and shit when people were applying. That was the thing. That was the logo popping up.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. It's the resurgence packages and everything like that.
Yeah.
So they were administering all those. First lockdown.
So hated that because it's government, right?
Hated because it was government. Yeah. And I was the youngest guy.
And at this point, what were you thinking? Fuck, this is going to be me the rest of my life. Because you were doing you sound like me, just a few different jobs starting off. You're trying to find your feet a little bit. You're bartending, you're at the fucking museum hotel you're here, there, everywhere. Tell me a bit about what you're thinking, I guess, at that time.
I think because when I was in it, there's the path that it's just the path, right? It's go to uni.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of these people who say fuck uni, don't do uni, don't go to school, start a drop shipping business. Not at all.
I am.
You
I'm
are?
one of those people.
See, personally, valid. But I just think there's real merit for a big chunk of people to actually go through uni.
I don't know about homeschool.
Yeah.
I've watched a few people grow up that are homeschooled that are a bit interesting.
Yeah,
and I mean, I know they're probably going to be watching this too.
Yeah. What do you mean?
One of them's like one of my close mates.
I
mean, I just no, not interesting in a bad way. Just like, I think you need that. I think school is good for building relationships, and like, you know, I think what I notice is, and what Jordan Peterson says is like from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
If you kind of put your kid out there, and they are out there, like probably, I'm not sure how you were as a kid, but I was kind of out there because my mum was just run around, you know. Whereas if you're like, come here, don't let, you know, don't cross the road, don't chat to that person, and if the kid becomes that introverted, then they'll be like that for the rest of their life. I find that's why I think a lot of the Asian community I notice is like don't go over there, don't speak to him, and then they become that, and like it doesn't matter how academic you are. If you have, you know, it's always the you know, the people winning like fucking the awards are always the ones that have that. Like skill and also social. You know? It's never, you can't just like be like a mathematician but never put it out there. You know what I mean? Like
social skills.
And have all this like science and shit but not be able to articulate it. So it's like matching the two, and I think, I don't know where the fuck I was going with that point. But
no, 100%. Like my dad, like when I was younger, like my dad was like actively pushing me into strangers' vans. So like, bro, it was, you know, totally other end of that spectrum. But like, I agree, man. It's like that socialization is like.
We're gonna meet your dad. We gotta bring him on the podcast.
Dude, he would love to be on the podcast. 100%. He's a character. Like he's funny, but that's the thing, right?
So he's from the Hawke's Bay?
Hawke's Bay. Yeah, Hawke's Bay. So he's from Hawke's Bay. Mom's from Boston.
Shit.
Dad, like, kind of.
So he did what you did. They kind of split up.
He did the exact same. Yeah, they're still here. They're still here. They're together.
Oh, that's
it's like
cool.
one of the few parents that I know who are still together. Like 63.
My parents are too. It's actually.
They're still together.
Yeah,
it's a novelty
rare
now,
thing.
huh?
Yeah,
and they hate it.
Yeah.
They should be apart. No, I'm kidding. They're good.
I'm not going to bring up the story about my dad and knowing. Anyway.
But no, dude, it's like they're it came here, and then I think like back to what you were saying, like that socialization thing, 100%. It's like because like it's all built on like connections and interactions with people. Very rarely do you like decide to like work with somebody because their product is really good. It's more or less because their product is good and because you get along with them really well, right? Like if you can find common ground, and that's like 100% formed in high school era.
Yeah. So going back to your backstory, so we can backtrack a little bit, like tell us about your thinking around that stage when you had that, I guess you were doing through those kind of jobs where you're still trying to find your feet. Obviously, I mean, but there's a lot of people making good money doing bartending, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
There's like the trick, you know, so I'm not trying to.
No.
It just sounds like you were jumping a bit. Like, tell me a bit of what you're thinking, and then like, obviously moving into inbox and what you're doing now with your email marketing business. Like, where's that kind of, where was the switch? I'd say.
Yeah. So I think like going around, like I've always been like pretty entrepreneurial as a kid. Like I remember like when I was young, I'd bring chocolate bars into school and sell chocolate bars. And I made like over a year, like $2,000 just selling chocolate in high school. Right. Always been doing like little side hustles, you know, buying DVDs from the DVD store and like selling them for more on Trade Me. Like always finding ways to like make little bits of money on the side. Yeah. But I think it's twofold. There's two aspects as to why I wanted to do my own business. Number one was I just really value the independence, like being able to just do my own thing. And it's like, it's not really like set my own schedule, and it's never, I think the misconception a lot of people think is like, I just, want to work less. Like I work way more now than I ever did working in like a classic typical job, but I enjoy it a lot more because it's on my own terms. It's like the ability to decide. So that was massive, like being able to be independent and not having any anxiety around like, oh, I hope I don't piss this person off and ready. Last one was like just always anxious about money. Like just always like just brought up in a way where like money was always like a topic where it was like there was anxiety around it. And so even to this day, man, like I'm still super anxious around money all the time. Like I'm nickel and diming as much as I can. And it's just built into me, and that's something I definitely need to like teach myself how to get. It's like a scarcity mindset, You're like, I've got this scarcity mindset constantly. So it was
you need to get over that.
100%. Yeah, I definitely know. I mean, did you have that as well?
No.
My guy's just balling from day one.
Well, I have enough confidence to just like, if I don't have money, I could get on the phone and I feel, like I just, where I've come from with the whole cold calling thing is like, if it really got really bad, I think pressure creates diamonds, right? I would just get back on the, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have to worry about it now. It's like, that's built into me, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting, bro.
Did you have those moments?
Interesting. I probably did have some scarcity moments at the start, of course, because like, when it was just me and Francis, when we started the Web Guys, there were times where it was like, shit, how are we gonna how are we going to eat this week? You know, but then again, like, you know, you kind of, yeah, it's a tough one, bro, because I guess you just keep pushing until you get a sale and then you're sweet again. Do you know what I mean? But I guess like you've also got to be like flowy. You know, I reckon go with the flow in terms of you can't, what's that old Chinese proverb? Like you can't force it. And it means like you've got to put an effort, but don't try to like force anything. Like what you focus on is what you're going to get. So if you're always focused on running out of money or being, you know, you're kind of going to get that. Whereas I think like what I've learned is just like you've got to reinvest and like have faith. And you know what I mean? I've kind of got to the point now with 10 years, it's like, I think it's more just like, hey, we've done it this long. Like I've always worried about that. And then you watch other podcasts and like people sell their companies and they've always worried about it up until they've sold the company. So it's like everybody just worries about it. It's just the worry.
Yeah, like how do you think you get out of that scarcity mindset, you know, like just being always like feast or famine?
I mean, I think it comes down to mindset, right? Like you're gonna have to train your mind to be different, really. Like it's gonna be through a number of tools. Like I think the biggest one is probably self-learning, being self-aware first of what mindset you're in. Like I think going back to when, you know, I mentioned the Asian community.
Yeah, you've been talking a lot about them, dude. It's wild, bro. But yeah, no, yeah. There's been a few communities you've been bringing up on this podcast, man. Keep it going. This is good. Keep going.
No, like, okay. I guess like learning sales skills early on gave me the confidence to never have that scarcity mindset, because I knew the skills they taught me, we could literally get on the phone and make a sale in a day. Like even if I rang you on Monday and I knew I was going to have to touch base with you 8 times before I make the sale, like I know it's called the straight line persuasion, like Jordan Belfort probably in the Wolf of Wall Street, and probably people know the Wolf of Wall Street but not the real guy behind it. Google or YouTube Jordan Belfort. Bit of a weird way of selling. Like he's a bit like, yeah, it's a bit like, whoa, I'd get the sales vibe from him and be like, fuck off, Jordan. I honestly believe that, even if I maybe not in the 80s, I'm not sure how it worked then, but now I get like a weird sick vibe from him. But I know with just not desperately reaching out, hey, you got a problem with your site, you know, like, yeah, have a catch up, have a coffee, man, you know, going over it. Like obviously I know a lot more now than I did then as well, so it's a lot easier to sell because I've actually got the knowledge. Back then I was probably still faking it till I make it, as I was saying on the last podcast. But it's that knowing that you can sell. So why would I have scarcity? You know, I mean, the scarcity, like even growing a bigger business, I don't even worry about, because I can hire more sales guys and train them. And then like, even if worst came to worst, you could scale back and still sell. Do you know what I mean? And be like a consultant. So I never had that. Yeah, I think for you just got to focus on selling and then find those other key people in your business. So then you never have to have scarcity ever again. Because if you had $1 million sitting in your bank account right now, would you have scarcity?
Bro, I probably would. That's
really?
the thing.
And that's what I thought you might have said too.
Yeah, because it's not even like,
it's built into you.
Yeah,
that's what you need to
it's
like,
been like brought up with
somehow. Yeah,
because like for me, the business like cash flow is like really good.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not saying you could.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's just a mindset.
Like even if you had $1 billion, you'd probably still have that. You know, it doesn't
100%.
matter. It's not about the money. It's just your whole being is like being brought up that way.
100%.
So
it's a character trait. I feel like at this point. And don't get me wrong, it's been like really good. Like when I was younger, like you know, saving up. I mean, like when you first like your first idea of like how do I make money? I don't know if for you, but for me it was like save up money, put it into stocks. Right? Save up money, put it into stocks. I've been constantly saving, putting it into stocks.
That's such an American thing, right?
Classic. It's a boomer thing as well, because like it just doesn't. That's not the way.
Yeah.
I don't think you like that. I think that's the way people think that you get rich, you know. And listen, it's like predictable and like, you know, compounding, you know, reinvesting your dividends and everything like that does 100% like get you good returns. But it's not the way that you're going to make like serious money. It's just it's building a business. It's like really how you're going to get there, right? Or just, you know, playing lotto, right? But it's like, bro, like it is. It's like finding like.
Have you seen that couple that's playing lotto though and figured it out, the algorithm? Like they bring out a new game and the guy sat there, was a mathematician, and like literally him and his wife for 20 years would spend like $130K of into the machine, and they would win. Like they won like 30 million. Did you hear about that?
No, it's in New Zealand, or
you joke around. No, this is in America too.
Yeah, right.
Probably back where you hail from.
Yeah,
to be honest,
classic Georgia. Yeah,
somewhere like that.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to check that one out, because you joke about it, but it's like it's a real fucking thing if you can figure it out. But going back to what you were saying before, like your story. So you know, in terms of when did you start your business and like why email marketing? Give me a bit of a rundown there, because were you really passionate about that, or was it just like a good model, or were you, after the bartending, did you work at an email place? Like I think we missed the little middle bit there.
Yeah, so so when I started bartending, which would have been like 2018, I was also doing stand-up comedy. So I was touring as a comedian. Right. Yeah, so doing comedy like all around New Zealand. Never went overseas for it, unfortunately. I should have. But touring around New Zealand, and then while I was doing that, I was also doing shows. I was still working at MB, quit MB, and I was like, I'm just going to really dial in the stand-up comedy, and I needed a way to make money while I was touring. I used to buy and sell websites. So I used to buy websites, flip them, build up some of the SEO. I sucked at it, basically just writing articles. Yeah. And this is before AI, so like you just have to manually, anything you want to know about guinea pigs, I can tell you right now. I used to own an affiliate
New Zealand
marketing
websites? Or in Australia? America.
Yeah. America.
I was going to say, you did probably, that wouldn't fly here. People would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I used to own
I've seen a few on Trade Me. You go on Trade Me and they're like, selling my e-commerce for 12 grand. And then you click on it and you find them through like the guy's name in the email and the thing, and you're like, dude, I've already found your site. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah, dude. I did. So like there's this thing called Flippa. Flippa is when you can like buy, I don't know if you heard of it. Yeah. You can buy and sell any kind of website. Yeah, there's loads
Some of them
websites.
are doing really well. I mean, they're like Shopify, their sales are there. They've got to like plug it into the machine to actually know that the sales are there. Like,
it's affiliate marketing was massive before drop shipping. So before drop shipping, it was like affiliate marketing where you'd find like a deal, you'd drive traffic to it, or people any way that you could, whether it be through organic or paid, right? And so one way would be to get it organic. You'd buy a website. So I owned this website that was like focused on guinea pigs, dude, and I put up like $1,000, and I probably wrote like 42,000 word articles. Zero passion about guinea pigs, right? Just writing these articles.
I love those little bastards.
Dude, there's there's no depth of love that I could have to make me write that many articles on anything. 40 articles, man. Pump these things out, and then would make like affiliate sales. Like you'd be like, hey, talking about like the best hay for guinea pigs, right? Someone would click on the link, buy a product on Amazon, boom, you get a commission, right? So I was doing that, and I knew that if I built up the size of an email list, the website would be worth more because you have an audience that you can market to consistently. So I had a bit of email marketing experience there. Then I was touring the South Island with my friend, and he worked at a digital marketing agency.
And this was doing the stand-up?
This was while I was doing stand-up, yeah. So we were touring together, and he was like, hey, we need some help with our email marketing. And they were like a generalist agency, did a bit of everything. And I was like, yep, all right, cool, I'll give you guys a hand, right? So fake it till you make it, like literally, just, okay, I'll figure it out. And did that for like 7 months with them, and then switched over to another agency in Australia, worked with them for like 2 years, and then this is all while I was doing
that's
stand-up.
where you learn mainly the base skills, like cause
base skills in the first 7 months, and then like really honed it.
And then really honed in when you worked for that Australian agency. I was gonna say you couldn't just, there had to be a bridge somewhere.
100%, yeah. It was like really honed it in with that Australian company, like working with like big clients, and then like learning how to just learning how to manage multiple projects simultaneously as well, and like managing people as well while
that's a fucking art in itself.
Yeah, but like while being protected, while working like an hourly, getting paid hourly.
While still doing stand-up?
While still doing stand-up.
Still trying to write jokes.
Still trying to write jokes. Yeah,
taking 100%. A piss in between.
It's a churn because like email marketing is like numbers.
Yeah. And still being creative, right? You still got to write. Were you writing the content, or did you have content writers?
I had content writers then.
Okay.
So I was able to like write my
Steal any of their jokes, or?
Bro, their jokes sucked. So did mine, man. So that's why I'm here. But then
hey, lucky I'm here. I'm your host.
Yeah, you would have been a shit comedian. But no, we did that, bro. I dialed that in, and then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? Like, stand-up comedy is not really going to give me the lifestyle that I want to be living. When I'm like XYZ age, I want to be having a family, and I don't want to be in bars. And it was just like I was like, I just don't want to do this. So went all in on my own agency.
I think people see that as super romantic.
Like the musician thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool if you're Jack fucking Mayer? John Mayer?
Mayer.
If you're John Mayer and
Jack
Jack Johnson, maybe I was thinking about. Yeah. But man, like that was like me. I wanted to be a DJ, and then when you actually become a DJ and you're DJing out in clubs, all your mates like, bro, we're off at 1, man, we're going to this other party, and you're like stuck there babysitting some shit.
100%.
It's probably similar to that, right? Like, dude, were you babysitting some shit, and then you were like, this isn't it?
I was like, I think what really got me down, and like I've made some like great friends in the comedy scene, but also like within the comedy space, like you're getting some like pretty unstable individuals in there. Like it takes a real special kind of person to be like, yo, I'm gonna go up in a room full of strangers and try and get validation from those strangers. Now, everyone whose reason that they do stand-up's different, right? But like for me, that's what I was doing it for when I was younger, like definitely was like tied into some sort of like identity thing. And I think for a lot of people it's very similar. And so like you're attracting like a very unique type of person. And this is by no means all of them, but for the most part it can be quite like depressing at times, especially in the open mic scene where you're doing like a show and there's like, you know, some guys just got a mental health breakdown, the other guy's living in his car, you know, and then it's just like, yo, we all gonna make it, you know. We're all gonna make it, boys.
Wow, who you hang around with, right? You are the 10 people you hang around with.
I thought about that
the older
so
I
many
get,
times.
the more I realize that.
So many times I was like,
You know?
oh, what's like I was like, who out of us is going anywhere? I was like, but none of us are going. Like, and it's like, it's just none of them are putting in the work, and that kind of bummed me out.
What does it take to be? This is an interesting one for people listening, man. Like, what do you need to do to become a successful comedian? Because there are some successful ones. You see,
100%.
Joe, I see him popping off.
Joe Damon.
Joe Damon. There's a few in New Zealand, but like, fuck, there's few and far between too. Do you know what I mean? He's the only one I can think of right now that's probably popping. Tell me about that.
Well, okay, so like, obviously I'm probably not the best guy to ask because I didn't make it. But I think.
No, but I mean, you might know enough in the game to being like, as a consistency though, isn't it? Like,
it's hard work.
Do you look back and if you stuck at it now, still you would have made it? You know what I mean?
would have been the same.
Okay.
I think like, because I worked hard. Like I did a lot of shows.
Yeah.
I think it's like, there's a few things. First of all, it's definitely just hard work and keeping at it for sure. The other thing is having like a very unique perspective on things. It's just being able to, I think, like being like, depending on the type of humor that you go for, unless it's like anecdotal, where you're talking about like the stories of my life, then it's just crazy funny stories, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's people like Ray O'Leary, who's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's a comedian in New Zealand, just is able to like take a very mundane topic and then bring in an interesting thought process to that topic that highlights contradictions, which is where like a lot of the funniness can kind of come from.
Yeah, true.
And that's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And then also like there's definitely like some people just have that, like, you know, it factor, but some people just have it, man. They're just like magmatic, like you just get you're just drawn to them, man. And like Joe Damon's one of those people, 100%. Like he's just like this funny guy who's just like you're just drawn to. You know, you even see like the fight space, man. Like Israel,
he had like a bit of a funny look.
Yeah, he does look fucking funny.
You couldn't be like Israel trying to do comedy, maybe, you know, ripped to shreds. You almost need to be a little bit like. You
you fucked up. Yeah,
I'm not going to say that. He might be watching, probably not. But like, fuck. He's just like a fluffy teddy bear. Like really, like, you know, like a approachable kind of guy. Like I even seen him at a cafe once, and I was going to say what's up, but like I'd never do that to anyone else. Like, you know, New Zealand's got that like small poppy syndrome. You're like, I might be bothering him. But he's like a kind of a friendly kind of face you could kind of approach, you know, in that respect.
For sure.
You know?
There's other factors too where it's like, like I was saying before. Like
because I've been to his shows and they've been shit.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I was like the turning fork and no one was laughing and I was like, bro, I gotta go. This is too embarrassing for the guy. And I think I like
probably just working stuff out though. I think I heard about that. Yeah, but it's,
you know what I mean? But now it's like his shit's funny and I'm watching it on Instagram and I'm like, oh, he's popping off. So that's why I asked you before, is it consistency? Would you have, you know, self-confidence and self-belief? You just got to keep pushing until like, but you sort of want to be one of those people on like, you know, The Voice or whatever, and they're like, I'm a great singer, and they come in and they're fucked. You know, they're like, and you're like, is this an act or what's going on here?
Here's like, I want to preface this, like I was okay at stand up, but it's like I don't think it was like a lack of like perseverance or anything. It was just generally for me, like I just wanted like I wanted to do something different. It wasn't like I know like 100% I could have stuck at it and like led me to something else, but it's just not really what I want to be doing. What I found like I really fell in love with doing the stand up was actually like organizing the tours, setting up the ads, doing all that stuff.
That's an interesting insight.
And then I was like, dude, I'm enjoying like the business of comedy more than I am actually getting up on stage. Like I get more of a rush.
The process,
dude. I get more of a rush from selling out a show than I would actually doing the show. You know, and like that, I was like, okay, this is like very telling. You know, like, this is very like clearly like there's something.
That's an interesting insight, right? Like you got to try a lot of shit. It's not really comfortable to figure out like where your comfort lies and what you're good at. You know, I mean, that's super insightful way that you actually through comedy found that you're good at organizing and planning, and like that's what you're doing now with email, really. You know, with helping us, the web guys with our like nurturing system and the whole like user journeys and flows and different segments. Like that's probably tied into setting up the gig, getting the people, the state, you know,
100%,
bringing it all together. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think like so 2 points there. I think like first one is like 100% like to the when you're figuring out what you want to do. Like when you're young, it's like I reckon just go after everything, and then like the goal should be to figure out what you don't want to do, you know, rather than being like, I'm gonna find the thing. Because when I was younger, that was it. I was like, I'm gonna find the thing, and then I wouldn't find it, and I get like real disappointed. And I was working at like MB, and I was like, is there something like wrong with me? You know, like why can't I like this? And like, am I just like, you know, I'm not. It's like I'm not fitting in. But you know, I was like 22, 23 having those feelings, right? And you think you move out of that after high school, but I was still like, man, it's just like not. Yeah, this isn't it. This isn't it for me, you know. And it's just like, okay, cool. I learned that working in like a government organization is not for me. And you know, you can go as long as you want with this process, right? Like, is it private? Okay, it's not private. Okay, is it being a freelancer? It's just that stuff.
I don't think a lot of people are doing that.
No, because it's so easy to be complacent. Do you know what I mean? It is. It's so easy to be complacent. And like,
I see anyone that's complacent. Like, I know someone close to me is quite complacent. Like, they're always, you know, getting a job with their friend, and they're almost like. It's like, fuck, it's frustrating to watch because they're almost taking advantage of that complacency without even them probably knowing as well that they're doing it as the boss, because they're just friends at the end of the day and working together. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like, complacency is the biggest killer. It's probably more addictive than bloody heroin. You know what I mean? Like,
and
if you get complacent, you can just be like, oh, well, this is what I'm worth. You know, I'll just have my Pringles every day, have my Coke, you know, and eat this trash and get a little bit of comfort out of that, and then I watch my Simpsons or whatever this shit they're doing, and it's like, fuck, it's just like, holy moly.
I don't mind it.
I'm glad I bring up Simpsons. It shows how long I haven't watched TV in a while. That was like my go-to.
Simpsons is like
fucking ages.
Damn, dog. I'm more of a Family Guy guy.
I don't have a TV anymore, really.
Nah, it's all it's all on the phone, huh? And the laptop. But dude,
Oh,
I have no problem with like, I've got no problem with like someone being complacent. It doesn't bother me, right? It's more just if someone's like, oh, they're frustrated with where they're currently at. And then it's like they're not taking action to get out of it. That's what kind of bugs me, right?
That's the one.
Like, there's a part of me that's like somewhat envious that like somebody could be like, yo, I'm chilling. This is easy. I'm like, that'd be so good, you know. And that's not to be like, yo, I want. It's. I think a lot of like my desires and wants probably come from like insecurities and like desires for things that aren't like, you know, it's like what frustrates me is like you see like super rich people who are like, yeah, you actually don't need the money. I'm like, bro, let me figure that out, you know. Let me get to that, and then I'll agree with you, even though you intrinsically know it, you know. But that's
I mean, you're only gonna learn that as you get older.
100%. So the Ferrari doesn't make you happy.
Like, it's like, oh,
I want to find that out. All right.
Yeah, it's like you know, you can't drink that much. The hangover's gonna get you, and then you get to 30, and then the hangovers actually do get you. It's like,
you'd be there. Huh?
Yeah, I'm already there. Right? The other day. It's like, it's constantly like all these things that like sound really cliche when you're getting told of them, especially by older, wiser people that have been there, done that, and you're like, let me just figure that out. And then you get there and you're like, fuck, they're right. Like, I should have just chilled out at that point.
Yeah, rather than just kept
going. Why am I freaking? I'm like, you know. But I get what you're saying as well. Like, you know, I drive past, or like even, you know, speak to my girlfriend or whatever about like their girlfriend's, you know, boyfriend that has a job, and he's just super happy doing the landscaping. You know, he looks like his life's just super, and it's like me, because there's no other expectations. It's like, I'm envious of that too. But then
just wouldn't suit you.
But then it's like, it wouldn't suit me, and it's like, you just got to keep pushing. Like I think Paul in the last podcast said, like, what's the risk anyway? You know, you're gonna die soon, so you may as well just fucking push it to the limit. Yeah. But also, if you don't have any fallback, if you didn't have family, if you didn't have anyone to just like, you know, crash on their couch and shit, that could be a sticky situation. 100%. So it's all relevant, but I think it depends how bad you want it and like what's driving you. I think a lot of people aren't putting any self-confidence behind them in anything, in any situation. It's frustrating to watch it.
Do you know Alex Hormozy, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
So he has this like really interesting thing where he talks about the self-confidence thing, right? And he talks about, have you heard about like his idea of like confidence? He goes, has
probably.
to be justified, right? It's like you can't just be like, I'm confident now. It has to be based on like, you know, actions. It's like similar with work, right? We've probably all taken on a job where we're like, I got no idea how I'm going to figure 100%. This out, right? But then you do it and you deliver.
Bulk foods manager, Huckleberry Farms, baby.
Is that right? Yeah, tell us about that, baby.
I just got a job there, and like I had to order like the bulk foods for this. It was like a Huckleberry Farms. It's like a supermarket, but it's smaller, like organic supermarket. So there's probably 8 or something. And I had to order in the bulk foods, but I would just get lazy and I'd order all the cashews from one place, all the like, you know, whereas like the salted cashews were cheaper over here by 5 cents a pack, and it all adds up. And they're like, why is the bill triple the money? I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. And I was eating, like, at this stage, I was real bad. I was eating KFC. Like, I'm like 20 at the stage, like, didn't know about health and shit, I was just trying to drive
Working
through
at Huckleberry's
KFC.
too.
Working at Huckleberry. And
nice
then they hired this guy, and I'm like, who's this guy? And I was so confident. And I was like, who the fuck's he? And they're like, oh, that's Josh. He's just going to be, like, looking over what you do, and he's going to probably handle the booking of all the orders now. And I'm like, that's my job. And I was like, I don't know where the self-confidence came from. I was getting customers to come out the back, and we were making like blended spinach smoothies and shit. And they were like, you can't bring this dude back here. I still see him in Parnell. He walks backwards up the hill. He's out of it.
What? Like, but wait. So you reckon you were like just confident regardless? Like you just went into it and you're just like,
I was definitely confident regardless.
Yeah?
I think.
But that's called delusion. We call that delusion.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, it's paid off.
Yeah, 100%. You do need to be kind of deluded though, right? To like actually go for
I think I'm
things.
always going to be a little bit deluded. That's probably why I'm so, if it's too good to be true now, if like someone, has an offer, I'm like, I don't believe it. I'll just do it the hard way, even though there probably is a way easier way.
Yeah, 30 booked
In
calls that you
business,
don't
I'm
pay.
talking about. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, fuck, forget that. Know that. I'm just going to go the hard. But it's almost better because you're in control. Whereas, like, fuck, the energy of draining someone trying to get a piece, and then, it's like, it's got to have the right feeling and the right time. I think everything's got to align, right? Because you could just easily in this world get your shit rinsed by someone.
Yeah. I had that recently, dude. I had a guy who I hired to do some stuff for me. Just dipped out. Yeah. Just jumped, I was like, just gone. There's nothing you can do. Okay, small claims, but it's like, they're in Australia. Just gone.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I've had that happen to me before as well, actually. But yeah, fuck, I don't want to get into that. Nah. It's gone, it's past.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you're doing now. Yeah. And so you got into email marketing.
Yeah. So
how long you had the business?
So business has been around, like, first client. We're still super fresh. Like first client probably came on board in December of last year. Yeah. And so since then, just kind of ramped it up. I went really hard on the outreach. I think I was telling you a while back, like, so when I first started, 0 clients. First client's always the hardest to get, right?
Yeah.
It's a freaking nightmare. So what I did is I went onto like 600 different stores' websites, subscribed to 600 different stores' emails, newsletters. So that's exactly what I do. I help them set up their newsletter and all that stuff, build out a bunch of automations on the back end. I recorded 600 different videos saying, hey, this is what you need to do for your newsletter.
And for the people out there listening to this shit right now, this is what no one will ever fucking do.
No one will do it.
I did the same thing with the lumpy mail.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You're gonna do well, bro, because you're doing the right steps people aren't willing to do. Like, the 1% of people that do that, 600 videos tell us about that. So you made 600 videos without even knowing if they're going to go anywhere. Or were you doing a video, sending it out, and then getting one back, so you built the confidence, or you just did 600 and go?
I was like, fuck
that's
it.
fucking crazy.
I was like, fuck it. I was like, how would this not work, right? So I was like, 600
What were your
videos.
numbers? What were you thinking? Like, I got 600 out, even if I get 1% of that, that's 6?
Which I did. No, what did I get? I got, bro, I think I got, okay, so I can remember the numbers now. So 600 emails sent out. Took me about 100 hours to record all these videos, right? So I'd have to research the web, had to pay for the leads. No, I didn't even pay for the leads. I just found the leads, put them in a spreadsheet, right? Because you're trying to do this on the cheap, right? And when you first start, you're like, a $40 subscription to so-and-so, like, I don't want to pay for that. You get worried about the obligations. So I was like, I need to get this done quick. So I was in my office, and this is working from home, and I was like, I gotta bust all this stuff out. And when I say office, it was like literally like my flatmate's cupboard, bro. I worked out of my flatmate's cupboard, and then working in there, recording these videos, and I pushed them all out. Here's the thing, if you're in business, you probably get a load of cold emails. People saying like, hey, I can help you with this. You need to stand out.
SEO. I'm like, bitch, have you looked?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you looked?
And they haven't, bro. That's the thing. It's so
draining.
Which is why, like
how can you help me?
100%. You should hire them. Just take them on a guarantee. If you can improve this by XYZ.
Nah, it's not worth it, man.
That'd be a fun video, actually. I'd watch that. I'd watch that.
Take them on a tour. It's like those guys that get scammed and then they like go into their computer and then they like, leave them online for 8 hours and they like leave them with nothing. And they're like,
bring them in the office.
Actually, I don't have time for that, but I would love to.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, but going back, like,
recorded those videos, pushed them out, got like 80% open rates.
Shit.
Which is great.
Yeah, that's crazy.
33% click rates, which is huge as well, right? It's like
Yeah.
an email marketing, anything like over 4 is like decent. So 33% click rates, and then I think it was like in total 3.3% booking rate. So
Booking a call, scheduling
booking
through
a call,
Calendly or
yeah,
something?
booking a call, because then I just pick up the conversation after after the email. But what's crazy is I'd send the first email, and if they didn't respond, I'd send a follow-up, and then another follow-up, and the amount of responses I got on that third follow-up was more than I got from the first one. It's the third follow-up that actually counts in the same
Always
chain.
the follow-up that's key.
It's crazy.
I would say even 8 to 9 to 20 times.
Yeah.
Even get till they say fuck off.
Yeah, dude, I do the same thing. I've got like an Asana board with all my leads.
Follow-up
Until
is
they
key.
say no, I'm like, all right, cool. Sweet.
Where did you learn those sales skills? Because I learned those sales skills from Gopher, was just sales focused, handling objections, following up. Like they drilled it into us, training every morning.
Just
It's
keep
like
going.
a Wolf of Wall Street type environment. Where did you learn yours?
YouTube. Yeah, just YouTube.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
jumped
it's
on.
more of an American thing. Like a lot of Kiwis, you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like, I know you're a Kiwi half and half kind of, but it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of your strategies are from, was it American influence? Like the whole reach out 600 videos.
Yeah.
Like I learned that, I think, was from the lumpy mail thing that I did. It was like send them a package. So they're like, oh, what's this?
Right.
And then had
Did
like,
that work?
Yeah.
Because I've been
Yeah,
thinking
we had
about
like a guide,
Yeah.
rubbish bin, and then it had a $100 note that you had hanging outside of the rubbish bin that we closed in it. So you'd see an actual $100 note, but on the back it was white and it said spending money on your advertising and not knowing what the ROI is, like throwing money in the bin.
Yeah.
The ROI is, sorry, I fucking talk too fast.
No,
But
but that was good. Like, what
you
was
know, and then they would like have a marketing guide which had an offer and then, you know, booking a call. So
Yeah.
it works.
What kind of
But
booking rates were
It
you
was
getting from that?
very, man, I was just running at that point. I wasn't
Yeah.
like you were measuring it and shit like that.
You're just
These
setting
are
it up.
early days where I was just like, as much as output I could do.
Yeah,
like
right.
a psychopath. Like the scarcity thing.
Yeah.
Probably did have it, I guess, what we were talking about before at this point, but I knew if I did the activity
Yeah.
and got 10 out a day, it didn't really matter about, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I just knew that because at Gopher, the numbers don't lie, and they taught us that as well. So then
Yeah.
it's kind of confidence building from there, going, well, if I just do the numbers,
Yeah.
if I don't do anything today, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So you had to do something, and that's what I guess what you're talking about before is when you started your own business, you're working more than ever.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's kind of fun knowing you have to do something to
Oh,
get
I
a
enjoy
result
it, man.
kind
It gives
of
me
thing.
meaning. 100% gives me meaning.
But also, I think like you've got to have that. It's not for everybody as well. Do you know what I mean? Some people aren't like inclined to just fucking.
Yeah, that's nothing. There's
They
nothing.
don't want the stress.
Yeah, I'm not like of the camp where it's like, I think a lot of the times in like the hustle and the grind space, there's like if you're not doing this, you ain't shit kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not. I'm just like, you know, whatever works for you, man. Like
Yeah, yeah,
100%. Like
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
because you know at the end of the day, yeah, we all die, man, and you know who
Yeah.
cares? You
Yeah.
know. Do you,
Who
do you
cares?
do you have any like? Because like obviously when you first start, right, you like pretty much you have to sacrifice everything.
Yeah.
For it, right, and maybe even still to this day. Do you have any regrets around that? Like being like, yo, I gave up, you know, partying in my 20s.
I have maybe regrets about where I did it because now I've set it up in New Zealand. Like I'm obviously I can, you know, expand, but like if I knew back then, you saying what I would change kind of thing, you could maybe even look at a bigger market. So then
Yeah.
what I was doing had a more of effect, that maybe something like that, but also probably planning systems and processes, which I knew nothing about then. And that's all I'm fucking hearing from my team now.
Yeah,
So
SOPs
you don't know what you
and
don't know though. So, I mean, like, how could I have known that then? Versus
Yeah.
what it is now, but probably that would be the insight would be like maybe where I'm located and doing it. Like imagine being top of Google in New York or even in
for sure.
Melbourne or Sydney versus little old New Zealand. That would probably be one, but even then I kind of like dominate here as well. Whereas what are the chances there's someone way fucking smarter than you in New York or Sydney or Melbourne as examples. So it's relevant, right? Because I mean, yeah, I'm not saying I'm an idiot, but I'm also there's probably dudes in New York that are like MBA fucking scholars that are like born with this shit and their parents are like won Nobel Prizes. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So it's all relevant.
Does the regret come from like the ability to not grow the business more? Is that what you mean? Or like
Just
where you have to live?
Wow, just where I've got to live, like
Right.
what my surroundings are. You know, New Zealand can be sometimes pretty fucking slow and
Yeah.
boring when you go to places like that are a bit bigger. It's like, well, that's where I feel like I should. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of that stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, you're not limited. I'm only 33. I mean, you can move on.
That's
You
overdone. dog. It's over.
You businesses online.
It's over. It's over, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
When kids pop out, then it's over. Wherever they're popping out from, but
that's the good thing, right? About like the agency model per se.
Yeah,
I mean, like you don't have
exactly
to,
right, and that's so in reality, it's not really a problem. But I mean, yeah, if I could pick on anything, top of mind would be that. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's just like people with that fixed mindset. I mean, that's where the scarcity comes from, is people with a fixed mindset, I would say, and like the growth mindset. That's all it comes down to. I mean, how you're raised, or what we touched on before, is probably a big part of it. But like, if you're raised with, fixed, and like the way, that's usually the language your parents are using initially. Like, what language they're using will depict whether you grow up fixed or growth, I reckon. Like, you're a star. Or like, like giving the kid this false sense of confidence. Do you know what I mean? Like,
they're born with it rather than actually like having to nurture that.
Yeah, the scarcity thing is interesting, man. It really just comes down to, I think, your mindset, like having a fixed versus a growth mindset. I think there's a book by Carol DeWitt, which is fucking awesome read. She explains it really well of how like kids are being brought up. I think it's the language the mum's using. Like, it really comes down to simple things. Like, they did a test on 100 kids, and I think they just said like, you're a star when they did this test, and the other kids like, the journey how you got there was good, but and then gave them like use different words, and one was fixed, like, you did awesome, and then just gave this kid the sort of like false sense of confidence, which happens a lot here in New Zealand, I'd say, as well. And then there was like the journey on how you got there, and I think it was this language you used to the more growth mindset kid, and they all wanted to do a harder challenge when they gave them the next test. And then the fixed mindset language they used with the first set of kids, they were just stuck. Like, I'm already fucking the shit, and there's no room to grow, so I'll just go with the easy test and my second one, and they all chose the second one. It was like black and white, bro. So I think that's really what people can take away, is like, if you know that you're in that fixed mindset, you're being brought up that, you can try change. And I think, touching what you're saying you're doing really well in your business, shit's going good, it's been going a couple of years, and you told me the revenue the other day, I was like, oh shit, nice, bro. So I think it's just understanding that, and then trying to change the language in your mind, because you just got two voices. And the other thing is like, you're actually a kid.
Yeah.
Forever. I think you might get to like 50, 60, and then you crush it, but it's always still there. Like, your kid instincts of being a young child are always there, bro. You even see it in like UFC fighters, like Izzy. Like, he's on the world stage fighting, earning millions of dollars, hanging out with like superstars, Drake at his house, blah, 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 blah. But he still deep down has this, like, I can see it through he's still like a child. And I think like that's something as well, is like crushing that in the child, but also not, because you don't want to be like a boring old fucking sit there, read the newspaper and read the stocks. So it's like keeping that in the child, but also crushing that child if your inner child's like fixed. Try to get it more of a growth, but still have fun with shit. Yeah, you got to have fun.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm touching on a few things there, but does that make any sense?
100%,
what I just said?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, no, it was good. Touching on,
but to wind it up, man, like, what's next for Inbox? And I guess, tell us a bit about what's on your plan.
So I'm trying to grow this business as much as I can. So like, currently working with clients like in New Zealand, Australia, and the US, and I think one in Canada now as well. I'm just going to find out today. Just trying to grow it, get it up as big as possible.
Where can they check you out?
Inbox, in-box.co.nz. Find me on LinkedIn. I've got a YouTube channel as well. Check that out on YouTube. Link in bio, baby. Link in bio,
baby. Like and subscribe. No, don't like and subscribe. We don't want that shit.
Yeah, smash that like button. We
want 0 likes for lots of views.
We're gonna get it, baby. Don't worry. Hey, we're different like that, huh?
We're different around here.
Yeah, but that's where you can find me.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And we'll be keen to interview again, see how things 100%. Are going, like near in the future. See,
just homeless, like
hopefully.
How good would that be? Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. Someone sent through a guy I went to school with who used to come second in cross country, win the 1600. He's homeless now.
Right,
That's fucked. Like I'll bring it up on the screen.
Running away from a few things. Bring it up on the screen. Can you bring that up for us, bro? Oh, dog, that guy ain't running.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Damn, dude.
Watch out.
You got it.
Could that be you?
Find me on YouTube, yo.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man. Easy.
Oh shit. Oh.
Solid ending, bro.